Os. Konbanwa. Genki desu ka? Hope you are genki desu. Hope you're all well. Good evening and welcome to Karate in Your Own Dojo on Tuesday evening, 26th of January. Thanks for joining me. Trying another setup this evening on YouTube Live. So we've got a different camera setup using a 0.5 lens this evening, which has kind of got a bit of the kitchen in there, but hopefully see some more space to be able to actually do some training. And we can have a jig around this. Got a new lighting system as well, and hopefully we're all good to go, and hopefully it's working. So if you could let me know. Andy Sensei, I hope you're welcome. One, mate. Welcome to Tuesday evening as per normal. Please be mindful of where you're training, if you're training with me, and if you're doing it at a later date. Just remember, if you're in your own dojo like me, that you've made everything as safe as you can do. We have no dog this evening because she's on holiday with her grandpa, and the reason being we're having windows fitted at the moment. So no dog this evening, so I apologise for that. So there's no club mascot going to be in the dojo. So tonight's lesson, what are we going to do? Was thinking long and hard how to make it slightly different, more interesting, always trying to come up with new ideas. And tonight I thought what I'd do is pay some attention to and give some time to the reason that we train in Kihon, okay, to get to Kumite, advanced Kumite, so Ju Kumite, fighting for want of a better word. So we're going to do the relationship between the two. So there's going to be a distance in time that I'm going to shorten this evening, but I'm going to try and explain why we do basic techniques, show you how you do those. We can train some basic Kihon techniques, okay, and then show how they develop further on in time to Ju Kumite as we know it. So Ju Kumite is sparring, fighting, Kumite, okay? So that's the idea around tonight's lesson. Hopefully, I should have plenty of room on a 0.5 lesson, 0.5 lens, sorry, to be able to do this. And really just quite keen to have some feedback on this and see if it made sense and works. If the cameras are looking good, that's great. If the audio is great, then that's good. Feedback is really important, so I know what to do. So this is a completely new setup for me. Downloaded some software, bought some equipment, and hoping that it all works well. Just going to say hello to a few people. Good evening, Ken Sensei. Good evening, Sensei Sharon as well. Good evening, other Sensei Andy, and good evening, Dexter. Hope you're well, Dexter, son. Okay, happy 5th birthday, young man. So let's get going without further ado. So we'll do a little bit of warm up. Well, let's have a quick one. Good evening, Kevin. Hope you're well. Really enjoying reading my book, like really enjoying it, well into it. Chasing Bushido by Sensei Richard Amos. Very, very good. Very good. Okay, so Kyosuke, first of all, straighten your gi and your obi. We'll do a little bit of a quick warm up, okay, because my feet are freezing in this kitchen. And then we'll get going. So, show me, ready? Okay, relax the legs. Okay, arms forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, left arm forwards, right arm back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Okay, take your arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 4, and crossing over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Okay, whenever I'm doing this, I'm really, really relaxing and paying attention to relaxing my joints, okay? So don't just think muscles and in your head all the time. Think about your joints, think about your bones, how they connect together, ligaments and tendons. So I allow my wrists to move freely, I allow my elbow to move freely, and my shoulder to move freely, without tension. The arms then become floppy, okay? Demonstrate, so just relax. So then what you're doing is just swinging limbs, but you do need to learn how to relax. I think if you've had a tough day at work, then it's not so easy. Okay, then rotate round. You can hear a slapping noise, that's my arms just crossing the body, hitting the back. Okay, very good. Your wrist kubi, te kubi. Okay, and your ubis, relax. Every muscle, every fiber, every bone, every ligament, every tendon, learn to relax and connect it when necessary. Really important part of karate. Okay, thumbs on shoulders. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, shish, hat, ko, ju. And relax. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, shish, hat, ko, ju. Okay, change ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, shish, hat, ko, ju. And now, ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, shish, hat, ko, ju. Answer side, ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, shish, hat, ko, ju. And now, ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, shish, hat, ko, ju. Okay, ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, shish, hat, ko, ju. And relax. Okay, shake your legs. Top half of the body done. Try to warm up before we start the lesson if you can. Saves us time. We only have an hour on a Tuesday. Okay, so Zen Kotsudachi, left leg forward. Okay, let your body weight sink down. Don't force your knee forward. You naturally just let the knee drop over the big toe. Let your hips drop down. Okay, back straight. Keep your form. Your shoulders pull down. Your head held high. Stretches the back, stretches the neck. Your vertebrae here. Yeah, really just stretches that out. Okay, and change the other way. And back to the front again, pushing down further this time, really stretching the gastrocnemius and the hamstring, so the muscles in the lower part of the leg and the upper part of the leg, really stretching those. And the other side. Okay, feet twice shoulder width apart. Okay, not too wide, not too ridiculous. Don't need to go into the splits. Okay, arms up together and down to the floor. And pushing back and stretching your hamstrings. Here, half muscles, gastrocnemius. Okay, left arm to the right foot, right arm up. And change. And change. And change. Okay, hands back on the floor. Let the knees relax. Straighten the legs. Okay, walk feet together. Walk the hands back. Back straight. And pull up. Okay, high sukadachi, feet together stance. Okay, so make sure you're in a comfortable position. Okay, remember your shizentai. Natural stances, hachidachi, masubudachi, haisukudachi, uchi hachidachi, haikudachi, all of those shizentai stances. We just let our hips drop. Okay, so no tension up here. Don't lock out your legs. Just relax. Okay, hands back up. Okay, take your right knee up. Okay, good. Keep your form, keep your balance. Stay focused, take your right foot out. Keep form, keep balance, keep focus. Foot back, control. Keep form, focus, and back down. Okay, so now the left leg. So again, relax, let the hips just drop. Left knee up. Control, form, focus. Foot out. Control, form, focus, relax. Okay, don't worry if you wobble, don't worry if you put your foot down, just restart and have a go again. That takes some time and everybody eventually will fall over at some point. Please do not worry about that. Okay, that will do the warm up. Okay, straighten your gis and your obis. Okay. Shizentai, standing bow only, please, this evening. Show me, ready? Us. Us. Hey, good evening. Okay, so let's get quick say hello to a few people. Good evening, Harry and Caleb. Us. Good evening, Nina and Zoe. Us, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, and welcome everybody else if I've missed your name on there at all. Okay, so welcome to tonight's lesson. So what are we going to do? We're going to look at three basic blocks potentially along with a counter punch. Okay, so we start with the basic block, then we start with then we go to the punch. Okay, and show the Kihon aspect of it. Then what I'd like us to do is progress that into a Kumite, Kumite, so sparring fighting. Okay, so not Kihon Ippon Kumite. So we've done that quite a bit recently, but I want to show you the difference of what I mean by this. Okay, so we're thinking with a defense mind. Okay, so we're thinking of receiving, being uki. Okay, so technique is coming into the face first of all, and the block we're going to do is very simple, agi uki. Okay, so we'll just do this from a standing position, just from a standing position. Okay, so hachidachi, open leg stance. Okay, try to remember again to just keep relaxed. This is really important. Check behind you because you're going to step back. Only one step, so you don't need too much room. You should be able to comfortably do this lesson within 2 meters squared. We sometimes try to keep it to 1 meter, but I think 2 meters is probably, well, actually probably could do 1 meter tonight. Okay, so just nice and relaxed. So remember, basic first of all, Kihon technique. Anyway, so agi uki, up rising block. Shoulder down, arm up. Okay, so this is your yoi position. Remember, when we block, before moving back, keep this tight to the body. So these two come together, almost touching, but not quite touching as they change. And that's important. The relationship between the two, okay, essentially they're mirroring each other. Okay, we close the fist on the upper rising block. But essentially that's what they're doing. And you don't want your elbow and shoulder out. If you bring your shoulder up, your elbow comes out, okay? Likewise, if you bring your shoulder up for your block, well, your block is terrible for one, okay? But your elbow comes out. You want to make sure elbows down, okay? Technique here to here. Okay, so this is correct with this slant away from the body, okay? Not here. Not here. This is incorrect, okay? Bad form and won't do you any favors when you do kumite. So really important, shoulders down, okay? And just keep this relationship correct to here. So we do 2 counts. So count 1 will be halfway position, okay? Remember the hikite hand is going to stop, as is the blocking hand, around this halfway position. So we have the yin and the yang, one coming back, one going forwards. Okay, and then we complete the technique on count 2. So each knee, like so. So right arm out to start with. Think about your shoulders. Okay, so hachidachi position, open leg stance. Don't worry too much about that. Let's moment in time. So each knee, each. See how this is connected to the body much closer than here. Really, really important to keep that connection correct. Knee, each. So here, knee, ich, knee, ich, knee, ich, knee, ich, knee. Okay, so not here. More into the center as a punch, like an arazuki. Arazuki's uppercut punch. Okay, more here. Keeping this elbow tight to the body, keeping your form and increasing your power because you're connecting your body. Okay, here, just your arm. Just your arm is okay, but not really strong enough, particularly if someone's really going to try and attack you full speed and power. Yoi position, focus on the shoulders. Hich. Ni. San. Aishi. Good, so now we put into stance Zenkutsudachi. Okay, so Zenkutsudachi front stance. Okay, so what I said earlier about making sure that your knee is naturally flexing over the big toe. Your back leg isn't completely locked out. Okay, so it needs to have let your hips drop. Not too wide, hip width, shoulder width at the most. Not too long, not too long. The Zenkutsudachi for beginners, for black belts. So we're beginners. Okay, so and why so much lower for beginners and so much higher or shorter, not higher, but shorter for black belts? We need to build that muscle memory, that strength into the body. That's what Kihon is about. Kihon is about building muscle memory, but not just muscles. I do mean bones and ligaments and tendons, etc., and making those strong connections. And Shotokan is well known for this. What Shotokan is really well known for being strong and powerful. But some people often think that we stay strong and powerful, but we're low and slow. I remember being referred to as that in competition. Okay, he's a Shotokan practitioner. Wadaru, Ishinru, Goju-Ryu, all of those much different in terms of styles. But Shotokan, low and slow. That's how we were referred to. Okay, that's not true. It's not true. As we progress through our grades in Shotokan, our stance shortens, stays the same height. We speed up, and we do speed up. Okay, there are plenty of very, very competent Shotokan karateka who are not just low, but they're also not slow. Okay, so what we're going to do from Hachidachi position here is Yoi position, 8 and step back Agiyuki, like so. And do both sides because it's important to practice both sides in karate. So change your arm, left arm. Remember, focus on those shoulders. Okay, Agiyuki. And your hips change to hanmi, half facing. I should have pointed that out. Yoi, ich. Back to Yoi, ni. Hey, back to Yoi, san. Hey, back to Yoi, shi. Okay, you can see here I've done gyaku. So if you've done this, if you've done gyaku, then you have used the wrong arm. However, in the context of Kumite, it wouldn't make a huge amount of difference if you defend yourself. So you won't find me telling yourself off, but if you get the arms muddled up, just remember that the hand you've just blocked with, okay, the hand you've just blocked with becomes the hikite hand. Okay, so this now changes. So it's just a little tip for remembering that I often have to, even now after 30 plus years, remind myself of how to learn. Okay, and I think that's really important. I was doing some training today, which I found incredibly difficult because it involved technology and computers. And I said to the trainer, and it's really odd because I'm normally the trainer or the teacher, and I said, I learn in this way. What I need is someone next to me to physically show me and me to physically do it. Kinesthetic is the word. And some people can learn by listening and some people can learn by just visual. So for me, it has to be doing. So I hope that makes sense, which is why karate suits me, because karate is about doing. So we have to find our own ways of learning and then adapting so that we can remember these things. So if you get your arms and legs muddled up, please don't worry. Okay, I still do it on a regular basis. We're human beings, so we will make mistakes. And remember, we always learn better from failure. So I think that's important to do. Okay, let's go for 5 Agiyuki. So ich, height back to Yoi, ni, height back to Yoi, san, height Yoi, shi, height Yoi, go, height Yoi, rok, Yoi, sich. Hey, yoi, hutch. Yoi, cool. Yoi, kiai, ju. Whoa, you want to do the Gyakuzuki, don't you? Yeah! Hey, yame. I say you, I mean me. So, you can tell what we're doing next because I gave it away. So now we follow on with the block. We do counter punch Agiyuki, okay? Once we've got that Kihon technique sorted, the combination, we're then going to show you how we would adapt that into a fighting scenario, okay, to make it work. Okay, so rei us. So this time then, same process as before, focus on the shoulders, focus on the hips, hand me, okay. Make sure you do the block. Don't, when you start doing combinations of techniques, particularly in Kihon, don't stop the block halfway to release the punch. Make sure the block is sufficient to stop the opponent hitting you, okay, and that the punch is just as good. So the weight between both techniques has to be 100% and 100%. We can't have 95 and 100%. We can't have 80 and 100%. We have to have good, strong, solid combination with individual techniques. I think a lot of people with kata, okay, in particular, miss techniques when they are speeding up in particular. And I do remember competition kata very much going that way around the noughties, okay? Juniors, when I'm talking about the noughties, I mean after the year 2000. okay, not because it's naughty. So it's really important to understand, okay, that kata, competition kata is really sped up. At the moment, it's gone really slow again, okay? But people were shortening their techniques to make it faster. The problem there is you lose the basic Kihon form, okay? And that doesn't really work, I don't personally think, with traditional Shotokan kata. So Kumite, though, we start this way and then we do speed up by shortening the techniques. So there's a different relationship. The outcome is very similar in the way that these are all connected. Okay, Kihon, strong, low, maybe slow, moving to strong and fast. Okay, so we'll sort of develop that in a second, as you'll see, I'm sure. So yoi position again, focus on shoulders, agyuki each, hip back. Okay, remember to keep your punch to your hip. As your hip drives through, your punch comes not off the hip with the elbow, it stays on the hip. So it's driven straight through. Okay, ayame. And just return back to your position so that we don't move around the dojo, particularly if you're short of room. Okay, so changing arms, right arm up, left arm hikite, left arm on the hidari koshida hip. Okay, so stepping back, change arms, left arm up, left leg back. So agyuki each, hey yakuzuki, hip, deliver the punch through. And back. Okay, so right arm up, left arm blocking, each, hey punching yakuzuki knee. Hey, yame. Left leg back, left arm up, agyuki right arm, each, hey knee. And change, each, knee. And change. Just the hips, no arms, step back, hip. Knee stays where it is, hip. Knee stays where it is. Change sides, come back, hip changes, nothing else. And punches, hip changes, nothing else. You get a little movement around the knee, but not a great deal. Okay, so build this relationship in your body between all of these techniques, combining the muscles, the bones, the ligaments, and the tendons. This is really, really important, okay? But it takes time. This is not something you do as a beginner. Right? It's not even something you really do as a shodan, black belt. It's something you do as you develop. Karate is always developmental. Never, ever does it stop. Never do we ever stop learning. And hence why I've always said, why would I give up when it's so interesting and I learn something new every day? Which is true. Okay, so let's do 5 of these on each side. So 10 techniques in total. Agyuki Gyakuzuki in Zenkutsudachi front stance. Okay, are you ready? Just slow speed, building up your confidence. If you want to go a little bit faster, don't go too fast too soon because you will lose your form and you will lose your technique, your waza. Ich, ya, ni, ya, san, ya, shi, ya. Go, aya, roll, aya, siege, aya, harch, aya, go, aya, biki aija, aya, hey, yame, hey, ayos, arigato. Okay, very good. Hopefully that was okay. So you now know the basic Kihon technique for Agyuki and Gyakuzuki. Okay. One thing on the Gyakuzuki, hip hand me. Okay, so imagine we've done the block here, hip through. The hip drives the punch through. But don't move the hip and then release the punch. The hand here is driven through by the hip there. So as the hip comes at completion, bang! Yeah, the technique flies forward, the Gyakuzuki in this case. This is really important that you don't allow that to go too soon. Quite often we find that when we first start using our hips effectively, or at all in some cases, we use them wrong. We hip first. or we punch and hit second. Exaggerated, I know, but people have been known to do that. So blocking, keeping this together. So it's together. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, so imagine doing a randori in the dojo. So randori is kind of like, I first heard that word when I did judo as a junior, and that's my first exposure to martial arts. And judo is another Japanese martial art, and we used to do randori. Unfortunately, in the judo dojo, I felt randori was the worst part of the evening, because it generally meant I was going to get beaten up and thrown around by black belts, which is exactly what happened. And that's just the way it was in the 70s and 80s, doing judo, certainly where I trained. Not much fun, if I'm perfectly honest. But it was essentially a free-for-all. Free-for-all, and generally the little squirts like me got picked on by the bigger people, okay? That I've never seen that ever happen in Shotokan, which I'm really thankful for. Certainly never happened to me. So, but randori essentially means free fighting, free sparring, okay? So if we were free sparring in the dojo, if we were doing this in competition, and fearfully, if we ever had to do it in real life to defend ourselves, this would not be good enough. And the reason being is it's too slow. It's too slow. So there's a number of changes that we have to change, okay, between our journey of Kihon Kumite or Kihon Ippon Kumite and just Kihon techniques to Kumite, and that is things have to change. The way we understand our body changes. So here, these are big movements. We're fully extending long techniques, fully extending, okay, and everything is long and low and purposeful to build up this basis that we want to build our strength, okay? Remember I said about Lego, it's our building blocks. Yeah, they have to be tight and firmly put together to make a substantial grounding for the rest of our karate. But when we move to Kumite, we start to become freer and we can start to explore, and the architecture of our building changes and kind of becomes pretty amazing in places. There'll be bits that break down and fall, okay, because we are changing our form. But that's the learning point between the two. Okay, so the difference between the two is probably the best way I can describe it is time. There's a timeline between the two. So how are we going to do this? So we're going to imagine that again, someone is attacking from a Jodan punch towards the chin. Okay, we've been doing Agiyuki Gyakuzuki. Okay, we're going to use a technique that is much faster, much shorter, which is why it's faster. Okay, and then our counter punch will be the same, but again, we change that. We change the focus on how we do all this. So the first things first. This was our Zenkutsudachi stance, okay? So low and long, yeah, low and slow, as I described earlier, potentially. I want you to reduce the distance between the front and the back foot, okay, by a foot length. So you're not upright. This is not correct. This is not what we're doing. So Judachi, okay, Zenkutsudachi here. Judachi is about a foot length, your foot length, okay, how big your feet are, your foot length that much shorter. Okay, this enables you to be a little bit here, okay. Now, what a lot of people do is they'll be low and they'll come up. Yeah, can you see that? Low and come up. You really want to be the same sort of height, okay. So you're just shortening your stance. Your back leg, okay, some Shotokan lock out the back leg. Okay, I've done that in my past. But we take the weight out of the back leg. Here, you flex the back leg. Yes, you're able to bend your stance and move much more freely than from this position. So your stance changes here. And when we punch, we can now flex the back foot, okay? The ball of the foot, drop the knee to drive through the hip further. Okay, so here we have the hip here. If we bend the knee, we're able to drive through further. So this extends our punch. So the stance makes it shorter, the delivery is extended. So not only can we punch faster, we punch lower and stronger in terms of technique. So you can really reach through, So Zenkutsudachi from a very low front stance here. Shorten the stance, take your form, much more distance in terms of delivery. Okay, and speed. Speed comes over time though. As I said, there's this timeline. So the actual punch, and the reason I've started on the punch and not the block is because the concept of the block is a little bit more different. Okay, so the punch is the same, but you can see it's not the same. It's delivered differently. So if you're really old, like me, okay, I was born in 1970, so 50 years old. There was a TV show called Waza, and in fact, it even came back at TV on Christmas, I think it was, this Christmas and Christmas before. Waza was a scarecrow. He was famous for having different heads for different occasions. So he had a clever head, a silly head, a normal head, different heads for different occasions. So my sensei always said to me, different head for different occasions. Kumite, you need several heads because there are several types of kumite. And it's really important that you're able to differentiate between the two types in tonight's lesson. There are multiple ones, okay? So, but we're just showing the focus tonight between Kihon and free and Ju kumite. So that's the difference. So remember, as I said, the punch, deliver in a much lower, shorter stance, okay? Able to free the back leg more, take the heel off the floor. We're not worried so much about the Kihon here. We're delivering a strong, fast, powerful technique. So the block, Agiyuki, is still too slow. For a front punch coming to the face, Kazamazuki, okay, or somebody coming with a really fast, Joganzuki, then I'm afraid Agiyuki is probably gonna be there after they've hit you, unfortunately. So we need to think of a different block, okay? So we're going to use Oseuki, okay, which we use in the kata Heian Nidan and Kankudai and many other katas. But essentially in English it means parry. Okay, and you will see the parry used, and the term parry I think is more commonly used in boxing, and I think fencing is another word that it's used commonly anyway. So the front hand is already yuri position. That's Agiyuki. The front hand is already quite high, so you want your guard. Okay, your guard needs to be in line with your chin. Your lower hand here. This is your solar plexus where your ribcage joins, and where if you get hit, it's very uncomfortable. Okay, so you want to be focused on covering this area. You don't want it to be resting against your tummy, and you don't want it to be far away. So you want it just here, and this one is in line with the chin. So anyone attacks my face, and this is the scoring area or the area that's going to knock me out. Okay, this is not here. This is perfect for here, and the block itself is just a deflection. So why do I need all of this power to use just this much to do? Because we also add another element. Another element is because we're in a freer stance, we're able to move quicker. We've already built that sort of mindset of strength, okay? That's already built, our foundations are there, and we're then able to free the body, relax, and move it. Okay, so we're able to, more of a Nagashiyuki, okay, which means sweeping, okay, or Oseuki type feeling, we're able to parry the punch that comes in by moving the body at the same time. It works beautifully once you've got that understanding. You have to have this basic outline, okay, before you start learning this. And I'm sure there'll be people who would watch this and argue and say, well, actually, Sensei, you're incorrect there. You know, I've been in dojos where as a white belt, you can just go in and fight. Yeah, you can fight, okay? But you will only be able to go so far. You don't have the foundations. Some people are natural fighters, some people aren't. But you will only have the ability to go so far. You have to work on the basics. You have to do the hard legwork to understand karate properly. You do see people come and go within sort of world championships over the years. I certainly know that, where they've trained, got their world championship medal and then disappeared. So they haven't made the full appreciation for what karate truly can offer you. And I think that's such a shame. It's such a shame. But you've got to go back to your core traditional basics to become really good, really good. And I don't mean just winning championships or anything like that. I mean understanding Kumite, understanding your opponent, okay, working with your opponent. Pure awesome Kumite is when two people spar, just it flows, it's natural. No one's trying to better the other person. You're just blocking and counter punching, flicking, punches, kicks, sweeping, all those things, and you're able to just continue it in just a sort of randori fashion. That's beautiful to watch, incredibly amazing to be participant of, Okay, I much prefer doing it than I do watching it. But it's how karate should be. So, talk too much, me as usual. So we're shortening this stance, okay? We're shortening the block, and the punch is no longer coming from here. The punch, though, the hip is still half facing, hand me, and the punch will be here. So our technique, we're going to come back with front foot ever so slightly. So here, okay. Notice my feet, even on my freezing cold floor, which is making me ache from the knees down, I can still relax my body. When I'm here, it's much slower. So we're trying to get this mindset of freeing the body, okay? So we've been released, the shackles have been taken off. We're now able to explore our full extent, okay? So from this position here, check your guard, check your body position. Never fight like this. Anyone who fights like this just wants to be hit, in my opinion. So make sure your hips are at hand me. Make sure your guard is in the correct place. Don't fight like this. This is really bad and disrespectful. Don't fight like this. Also not good. So get your guard correct. Get your position correct. Relax your body. Let your shoulders drop. Okay? Your shoulders, if you start moving them up and tensing, as soon as you'll see when I'm going to punch, tension, arm, shoulders come up, punch comes out, or elbow comes out. We're trying to get rid of all that from the basics. So from this position here, parry, and punch. So parry, okay, push the punch from here. Extend the back leg. Parry, push. Parry, push. Nagashi flowing, I think that's probably quite a nice Japanese word to use. Ose is more pressing, okay, but we're going to use ose in a second or two. So let's use this more nagashi. Okay, so from this position here, notice as well that when I spar, and this is just me, it's not everybody, I don't tense my fists, okay? I used to. The trouble is when you have a tense fist, you generally have tensed up the forearm, which is linked to the elbow, which is linked to the humerus, and linked to everything else. So everything has started already to lock into place, which makes you slower. So I tend to have my hands slightly loose, okay? Ready to tighten on impact. Should I get hit or should I be punching? Okay, same with the blocking hands. Maybe keep the hand open, ready to tense. Okay, you can do this in a microsecond. So for me, it adds speed, enables me to speed up, okay? So from this position here, relax the body, just come back ever so slightly. So just place the back, you come back. The parry this looks ridiculous. This is enough to stop the fastest, strongest, most powerful punch in the world. All you need is a microscopic touch to deflect that, so it's just going to go past your ear, like so. That's it. That's all you need. So here, so come back and punch. This position here, sink the hips down, let the hips drop down, and only kime at the end of your punch. Okay, kime at the end of your block. This is just a deflection. You don't need any power. You don't need to go like so. You do not need that. Okay, you have to trust me on this. So as I say, there's an element of trust with all senseis. So basic. Very powerful, very strong, very slow, okay? Much faster here and in. So quite a different concept. And I think if we took a beginner's lesson and a black belt session, maybe like the second part of this lesson, people would go, what is going on? So what we do is we build this over time. Okay, so we do the various different types of Kihon Ippon Kumite, we do Goon Kumite, we do Sanbon Kumite, we do Kaishi Ippon Kumite. We then move to Ju Kumite, which is a halfway position between the two. So it's neither basic Kumite or it's neither freestyle. It's a mixture between the two. The moves are set, okay, and everyone knows what they're doing. And in Ju Kumite is natural sparring, natural fighting, okay, together. And I'm kind of condensed this into one lesson in 1 hour, okay? And we're only going to do a couple of techniques. And if it goes well, then we do it again on Thursday because I have millions of these. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. That's what we're trying to do. So we're doing the Kihon technique, basic, and then we're doing the thing, the sort of more relaxed Ju Kumite. I think in English we spell it J-I-Y-U, Ju Kumite. Kihon Ippon Kumite, for instance, means basic one-step sparring. Ju Kumite means free sparring. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Just going to quickly see if I can say hello to a few people that I've missed so far. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Evening, Isaac. Well done for joining us, young man. Good evening, Thomas. Good evening, Tim and the Huxtable clan. Hope you're well. That's all of the comments I can see so far. So I think I've kind of said hello to everybody as much as I possibly can. But please, if you want to say hi, I'll make sure I say hi to you back before the end of the lesson. Let me know how you're doing. Are you finding this okay? Does this make sense to you? Okay, I know some people it will. So I've got a thumbs up there, which I think is great. That's a really good signal because I can see that even with my bad eyesight. So we need to make sure then that we are going to free this body up from this kind of like shackles that we've had as a Kihon technique. So we're going to do 5 of these, 5 on the right side, 5 on the left side, Kumite style. Okay, so bow, hey, yoi, hey, and step down, Kumite. Okay, so this is Judachi fighting stance. Okay, so remember it's shorter, not as long as Zenkutsudachi, more freer, able to move. Okay, don't bounce around like this. Okay, this is very competition. Don't need to do that. Just relax the body. Just relax the body. Okay, so punch coming in. Ich blocking. Iya kazuki. Again. Ich. Iya. Iya. San. Iya. Shi. Iya. Go. Iya. Okay, one thing I didn't say. Foot comes back for the block, in for the punch to gain that extension. Okay, gain that extension. Can everybody hear me okay? Can you give me a thumbs up, Tim, if you can hear me okay? Just I'm not sure if the microphone's working effectively or not. So I'm hoping that it is. If you can give me a thumbs up just to let me know the microphone's working, that's brilliant. So make sure the foot comes back for the block, just a bit of tai sabaki, body evasion, body movements. Okay, then extend the punch in. Okay, making sure the punch goes in. Usmar, good evening. Welcome. Tim's liking the wide angle, and Andy and everyone. Well, thank you for putting the thumbs up, gents. That's good. That helps me. Good that you can hear me. So we're going to go for a couple more of these. So remember to come back, parry here, nagashi here, hey, gyakuzuki, come here, and bring the hand back to the hip to that good finishing point, and then come back to judachi again. Okay, so once more, lots of thumbs up. Okay, nothing rude, please. Okay, so come back, 1 and keep this as tight as you can. Just don't show your opponent anything. Blocking, hey, ki, yeah. Okay, ich, again, relax. Ich, hey, last time, one more ki, ich, hey, change legs. Okay, so who's left-handed? Me. Okay, so if you're left-handed, hopefully this is your side, you'll enjoy this. Okay, and same thing again, think about the short stance, think about extending the back leg, punching your nice gyakuzuki nice and long, and just enjoy, okay? When we're doing free kumite or free sparring, Kumite, there should be big smiles, okay? For me, it's my biggest love within karate, and enjoy it. That's what I suggest you do. Us, good evening, hope that's Michaela and Betsy. Us, hope you're both okay. Us, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Sensei Sharon's found the emojis, that's hilarious. Okay, so are we ready then? So left side, nice and relaxed, right? Us. Okay, blocking. Ich, ayo! Ni, ayo! San, ayo! Shi, ayo! Hey, last one, ki, ayo! Hey, yummy. And right, us. Okay, so now can you mix the two? Can you teach your brain, train your brain, okay, to disconnect between Kihon, keep the form, keep the stance, keep the basic in your head, to then become free, okay? Just like that. Are you able to make those connections, okay? And then disconnects, if that makes sense. It's not an easy thing to do. I think it takes time. I certainly over the years have taught many students who have been really, really good at Kihon Ippon Kumite. And when we say start to free spar, they look like the Tin Man, okay? moving around and not really being very effective, if I'm honest. So the Kihon looks really good. Yeah, the Jupon is okay, and the Jukumite is just not right. Okay, because they're not able to make that disconnect between the body in terms of relaxing the bones, the muscles, the ligaments and tendons, and everything like I said previously. It's not a natural thing. For me, I found it very easy. My first fight as a Kumite player, whatever you want to call it, because we used to be called judo players when we were fighting. But I used to, I fought as a red belt and fought from a red belt right up until about 4 years ago competitively. So, you know, I've done it all the time, and I found it very natural, which is bizarre because I wasn't naturally a fighter. That's not my style. So, you might be able to find that you find one sort easier than the other, but we'll see, shall we? Okay, so from the basics. Os, Agyuki Gyakuzuki, Ich, Aya, Judachi, Hey, Ich, Aya, Kihon, Ich, Aya, Judachi, Ich, Aya. Right, left side. So left side would mean left side attacking. Okay, so just changing. So again, let's go for Kihon first. Os, Ich, Aya, Ni, Aya. Back to Kihon. Ich, Aya. Hey, Judachi. Ich, Aya. Hey, I'm ready. Os. Hey. Hey, yummy. Relax. Os. So, are you able to do that? Are you able to disconnect from Kihon, Ippon, basic Kumite, to Ju-Ippon, or sorry, Ju-Kumite, free fighting? Not as easy as it seems, and I think free fighting itself is quite challenging at times, but shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It should be a lot of fun, okay, and you should be able to enjoy it. Key things as well between the two, okay, that I haven't talked about this evening because I can't really show you, is control. Okay, so again, we start off with the slow-paced, deliberate distancing between Kihon, okay, and then progress to this Jukumite, because in that timeline, we are practicing our control at all times. If we allow karateka to practice Jukumite from day one, walk into the dojo as a white belt, blood everywhere. Okay, it's like back to the 80s again. Really not ideal. Okay, so it's really important that people understand that karate is all about control, and you're responsible for your techniques in terms of what they do and don't do. Okay, so we're obviously looking at safety, looking after our partners in the dojo, particularly if we're training with them all the time. But for me as well, in Kumite competitions, okay, I never once hurt my opponents. Okay, I always made sure my control was on point. And it's one of the things that I'm probably proudest about. I'd like to say it was the other way around, but that's not the case, as will many a medic tell you. So control is really, really important part, but I can't really show you that this evening being on my own, within my own dojo. Okay, so let's move on. Let's do another one. Okay, and I think we'll do a nice and easy chudan punch. Okay, so we'll keep it relatively simple, and then we'll use osayuki, I think, within the Jukumite. So we're going to do soto-ryuki, okay? Soto-ryuki, outside forearm block, okay? And very basic technique. So, right, hey, yoi, and step back, soto-ryuki. Remember about these shoulders, remember your hips changing to hand meet as you block. So coming back, each, checking this is blocking correctly, not here, not over here. Here, and deliver the punch, gyakuzuki. Back, hey, chudan, each, hey, knee. Once more, soto-ryuki, each. Check this form, check this shoulder is not up. This is bad form. This is not going to block. Relax the shoulder. Everything works. Your body is a biomechanical chain, and it works better when it's allowed to work together. If you start to tense different bits of it, things all go wrong. Soto-ryuki, relax. Only tense at the end. Remember, kime at the end. Kime at the end. Only at the end. Kime literally means the end. Okay? Not part way through. Don't tense part way through. Kime means the end. That's the meaning of it. So try to keep that in your head. So soto-ryuki technique. Gyakuzuki. Let's go for 5. Ich. Hiya. And again, ready. Ni. Hiya. And one more. 3. Hiya. Shi. Hiya. Good yoi position. Go. Hiya. Hiya. And change left side. Think about that yoi position here. Yoi position. Connecting together. This all ends connected together. Hiya. Connections. Karate is nothing but connections. Yeah, on different levels. Complexity of the connections over time change, but it's just about connections. Get the basic ones right, the rest of it comes along beautifully, says Sensei, he says. Okay, left side. Okay, left side. Remember again, we're talking left side. It's we're left side attacking or defending, okay? So we're punching with our left side, kicking with our left side. Okay, so blocking right hand soto uriuki. Chudan, right? Ich. Hiya. Hey, leave. Hiya. Relax. Yeah, drop your shoulders. Drop your shoulders. 3. Hiya. Shi. Hiya. Hey, one more ki. Go. Hiya. Hiya, mate. Chop right, boss. Okay, arigato. Well done, very good. So now, how do we change that into Kumite? How do we change that to Kumite? So our stance, we don't need to go through again this evening. We're going to say it's a shorter stance, Judachi. Okay, remember that punch is the same Gyakuzuki. And the block. The block is beautiful. I teach my juniors this and they love it. I tell them it's the most complicated, difficult, challenging block in the world. Oseuki. So it's just again a parry. This time was a nagashi, more sweeping across. This one is more just open the hand and let it drop. And what you're doing again is a punch coming in here, long Gyakuzuki, just parry down. And you're essentially not parrying it into the stomach. You're just ever so slightly guiding it away from the body. Yeah, as you change from showman maybe, give your opponent a target. There's nothing better than a big belly. Okay, get your guard correct though here, and just parry. You just parry. Doesn't need any power and taisabaki. So again, always come back on the block to punch in strong with the punch. Extension of the punch is really, really important. Okay, so that's the plan is what we're going to do. Okay, so we're imagining Chudan punch coming in. Hey, we're in Judachi. Check your stance, check your guard. Is this still Jodan? And when I mean Jodan, in line with your own shin, and this is in line with your solar plexus. Not like this, please. Not like this, not like this. Okay, check your form. Just because we've gone from Kihon basics, we spend a lot of time on our Waza, our technique, our form, okay? We pay attention to detail, just the same with this. Don't let things slip. This is a bad habit to have, okay? So guard is correct, stance is still correct. It's still essentially a Zenko Sadachi, but just with the front foot shortened and the back leg freer. So we're able to move faster. That's what I really need you to kind of get from this concept or this lesson this evening. Okay, so are you in stance? Are you ready? Okay, everybody checked? Okay, so Chudan, we'll go nice and slow. So come back. Oseuki, yeah, Gyakuzuki. Drive that punch in, drop the hips down. Let the hips drive that punch through. Yeah. And back to Judachi. Okay, each come back. Yeah. Hey, and back. See the extension of the front foot. Come back. Yeah. Come back. Yeah. Try not to bring the hand back on the punch because it's quite obvious what you're going to do. Sometimes you forget about it and you naturally bring the hand back to the hip. That's okay. Just that you're telling your opponent that you're going to, after you've blocked them, you're going to hit them with this. Okay, so maybe sometimes you can bring it back so they think that, then you Rakunachin. I mean, just thinking of different techniques. For me, constantly evolving. And that's why I love Kumite so much, because you can't get bored of it, because you constantly have to think of different ways to challenge your opponent, okay? And challenge yourself, of course, which is really important. So, Judachi position. Ich, come back, iya! Let's go for 5. Knee, iya! Be relaxed. San, hey, aya. Shi, hey, aya. Hey, ki, go, hey, aya. And change legs. Okay, so left side for you left hookers, Hidari. Okay, so remember only 10% of the world are left-handed, so you should be privileged to be left-handed if you are. I am. Already, relax. Check your stance, check your form, check your guard. Don't let yourself slip now, just because you're doing Kumite. Okay, here we go. Let's go for 5 to finish the lesson. Ich, iya. Ni, iya. 3, iya. Hey, shi, iya. Hey, ki, go, hey, iya. Hey, ya, mei. Mei, os. Hey, no. Very good. Not so easy. Okay, I appreciate that. But hopefully from this lesson, you've seen the difference from the basic techniques that we do between 10th Q and pretty much 3rd Q. Okay, we then move to Juippon Kumite from 3rd Q and beyond within our syllabus. And we are trying to then change the relationship of long, low, and strong to a little bit faster, but still within a routine, within a form, within the context of confinements, within a certain area of technique. Then going to Jukumite, which is where we've gone this evening, where we're free. Free to do pretty much as we please. Okay? The ultimate aim of what we're doing is to relax. Relax the body, make it faster. But we have to have that foundation to get the strength in there in the first place. I hope that comes across reasonably well this evening. I've done this some justice. I know I've rushed the chew down a little bit, so we might develop this on Thursday. So we might do some more Kumite. Hopefully I can maybe show you some techniques that will be really good, just combinations. My back is freeing up a little bit better, so my good old chiropractor's keeping me going. So if I'm feeling good, then we can continue maybe to do this lesson later part of this week. So that will be at 7 p.m. on Thursday. Okay, so let's go back to Soto Uryuki, Kihon technique to Jukumite technique. Us. Okay, just on the right side first of all. Ich, aya. Ni, aya. Hey, now the left side. Ich, aya. Ni, aya. Aya, mei. Anyway, Max. Okay, so thank you very much. Just a couple of minutes left before we do the dojo-kun. Just very quickly from myself, please give me some feedback on how this YouTube live format is working. I can at least see you saying hi and hello and your thumbs up and Sharon's very funny emojis now that she's found that button. It's not as interactive as Zoom, okay, or Teams. I do understand that. We had a Teams meeting at the weekend with a few of the black belts. It went really well. So we're going to try a training session for some of the those same people again on this Saturday. If all goes well, the plan is then to have the Kangeku, okay, which we normally have at the very end of January, in a couple of weeks in mid-February. Okay, that would be the plan. Remember, the Kangeku is our huge community training session. Normally we have over 100 people in the dojo. It'd be incredible to get over 100 people here online. And then we have our community breakfast, okay? And the idea is to actually have our breakfast in our dojos. So as we would do normally within our Honbu. It's not possible this year because of coronavirus. So I thought, well, we could still probably do it on Zoom. I've seen other senseis do big classes. So let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can get 100 people, okay? So what you need to be able to do is I will eventually, fingers crossed, give you details of how to contact me for the Zoom link, okay? And then once you've contacted me, I can send that to your parents or to yourselves so that you're able to join the session. And that will be in a couple of weeks' time. So don't worry about the date. We'll give you that date in a few weeks' time. But I have in mind in my head of pretty much middle of February, that sort of timing. Okay, no later than the end of February, I promise you. And one last thing, the competition that I've had, what Sensei Scoop been building out of Lego, I'm still missing my final brick, so you still have time to enter. until lego.com sends me that final brick, I'm unable to complete it. Therefore, I can't show you what it looks like because it's unfinished. And I've got to be honest, you still probably wouldn't guess at this moment in time. There's not much left of the build to do, but this brick is fundamental typically, and I don't have another one exactly the same, so I had to order it. So juniors, keep thinking, okay? Keep thinking what it might be. Two of you have come very, very close. You have no idea how close, but you haven't got it right yet. Okay, so I think you continue Googling, going on lego.com. What is Sensei Scoot interested in? Okay, what is Sensei Scoot interested in? I'll tell you a little story. My loves in life are pretty much quite clear. My family, karate, cars, fast ones, Star Wars, Ninjago, Japan, pizza. There you go. There's some ideas there. There's some suggestions maybe, and hopefully you get. Oh, I love Marvel as well. Sorry, I should have put that in there. Oh, and Harry Potter. Anyway, I'm digressing. There's some ideas. Come up with some ideas. We've had some great suggestions so far, and some of you have told me about some of the sets that you've got, and they sound utterly incredible. And I think I might have got the Lego bug again at the age of 50. There we go. Okay, let's Kyotsuke. Straighten these nobis. Hey, and right, os. Dojo kun, hitotsu jinkan kou kansei ni soromoto koto. Hitotsu makato no michi o momoru koto. Hitotsu doryoko no seishin yashino o koto. Hitotsu aregyo o monju o koto. Hitotsu kekki no yo I mashi moru koto. Show me right? Os. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to be able to at least see your comments and train with you. I hope you've been training as hard as I have. I've got a good sweat on, which is great. Still can't feel my feet, but there you go. See you on Thursday at 7 p.m. hopefully. Oyasuminasai arigatou gozaimasu. Oyasuminasai arigatou gozaimasu. Jamatane, jamatane. See you later. Oh, thank you very much. That's very nice of some of your comments. That's really, really kind of you. Loving it. And I'm loving all the emojis. Brilliant. Good night.